I'm here tonight to present a Lifetime Legal Achievement Award. Being involved with someone like Mark Robinson reminds me of how a wonderful profession this is. Why we stand for what we stand for and what we work for. Here he comes, here he comes. Look at this.
I'm just proud to be with you tonight. And I gotta tell you, the first day I got to meet a plaintiff, an individual human being, that was probably the best legal day of my life. And I can tell you, I've never looked back.
You know, when I do look back, it's really a family firm that we've built here. And family, well, that's sort of how it all started. I was the oldest of 8 children. We lived with my grandfather and my grandmother when I was young. My grandmother my mom called her Muzzy, okay? And then my grandfather, one day, I guess he was reading his newspaper and he had me up in his arms. And I hit the newspaper and he says, "Bad boy." And so from that point on, he was Babu for the whole family. He's Babu. When Babu passed away, my grandmother, she rented a place right down the street from us, just so she could be there, see us every morning and see us every afternoon. And my grandmother was the closest person. I'm gonna cry, but I think that she had a lot of effect on me, as you know, caring about people, and I do think that she had a big influence on me. Going to law school? Oh, that's kind of a funny story. One of my fraternity brothers at Stanford called me up and said, "Hey, Mark, we want to do a concert, a rock festival down in LA. Would you want to help us put this rock concert on?" I said, "Sure." True story. The first one was such a hit. We ended up putting on 3 of these concerts, and the last one, we got Jimi Hendrix. It was big. It was front page of all these newspapers. My dad is Mark Robinson. I'm Mark Robinson Jr., but the headline of the LA Times just said Mark Robinson. So I guess what happened was my dad was on a trip with some other lawyers, and one of his buddies saw the headline and said, "Hey, Mark, how could you do this rock festival thing? You're here with us this week, you know?" "Oh, that's my son." But when my dad saw his name in the LA Times, he says, "You're going to law school." So I went to law school. But it worked out. My dad was a very good attorney representing defense insurance companies. And I did do some of that for a while, doing cases for his law firm. And after I did about 7 trials there, I told my dad, I said, "Dad, I think I want to be a plaintiff lawyer. I like helping people that are hurt." And he said, "Not in my town." LA was his town. Those are exact words. I said, "Fine, I'll go find another town." And I came to Orange County and went to a small firm with 2 other lawyers. Sure enough, started doing plaintiff cases, and I've never stopped. One of those cases was Ford Pinto.
910. That's the number of quality inspections that are made during the assembly of Ford's new Pinto. Now here's another number for you. 1919. Ford's suggested retail price.
What happened was this. In 1972, there's a Ford Pinto driving on the freeway. A little boy named Richard Grimshaw was in the car. They get rear-ended, and because of a design flaw in the Pinto, where Ford puts the gas tank 6 inches from the outside of the bumper there, the car bursts into flames, and little Richard Grimshaw suffers severe burn injuries as a result. So we tried the case and got $128 million. Now, after the Pinto verdict, my partner from that law firm I was trying cases for, he said, "Mark, I don't want to spend money on these product liability cases. It's not worth it. We're not going to do those. Those are too expensive and things like that. And I said, okay, I'll start my own firm. So I went out by myself and grew this firm from there.
I started working with Mark way back in 1982 as a law clerk. I had no idea at the time that we would have this unique opportunity over these 40+ years to help people on such a large scale. What we do here is products liability. Most of our cases involve things like defective products, products that are causing injuries to people. It gives you a sense of satisfaction when you've managed to make a change for the better for many people and sometimes save lives.
This is where I wanted to be and what I wanted to do, which is to be part of my dad's journey and his firm and to make sure that we're helping people. And that's what we do every day.
Mark will always be my big brother. And one thing we all learned from our father was to help the downtrodden, to make sure things get equaled out when sometimes they've landed unfairly.
It's very rewarding to listen to our clients' stories. Sometimes they just want to be heard, and it's just nice to be at a place where it's front and center.
The big trial victories are great, and all of those make a huge difference for the clients. But when your client turns to you and says, "Thank you for telling my story. Thank you for giving it your all for me. This is why we do what we do, and it's to change lives."
For the firm, I see a lot of bright spots on the horizon. And that's because there are a lot of bright lawyers here that are going to carry forward in the traditions and in the type and style of work we do, and they're the backbone of the firm.
You know, I'm very fortunate to have a good dad. I really admire his not only tenacity and competitive spirit, but his care for the clients. He puts them first, and it is a spirit that all of us share that comes directly from him. It's priceless.
When I say family, it's not just the people with the Robinson name. It's all the people in this firm and their families too. So I want to acknowledge my family, Melody, and our kids, and they're here, and I appreciate that. My grandkids, Marky and Ella are here, and my law firm. And it is really true that when you're doing the work of angels, you know, helping people, it is easy to do it, isn't it? I mean, you could keep doing that forever.